everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for tuning in. So I've got another collection update for everyone. This one is going to cover a trip to Goodwill, a trip to the record store, a few other odds and ends that I've picked up, and of course today being record store day, at the end I will show you what all I picked up in my record store day travels. So let's start this off with the Goodwill haul, starting with Big Rex in loving memory. I bought their Pages EP because I really love that EP, and then I happened to find this at Goodwill about a week or two ago, and I only know two songs on here, The Oath and that song, and I like them both. The rest of it I'm not familiar with, but I don't find Big Rec often out there in the wild, so I figured even though it's cassette, which is my least favorite of the mediums that I do have, I didn't really want to pass it up. So Big Rec in loving memory. Next up we have the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. The only Beatles album that I don't own is Yellow Submarine, and this is not the album itself. This is, I think, the movie soundtrack, but I picked it up primarily because I think the one song on Yellow Submarine that is sort of a must-have is Hey Bulldog, and Hey Bulldog is on here. So since I don't have that song on any of my other Beatles CDs or vinyl, I picked it up primarily for that reason, but you do have some other great Beatles songs on here as well, so nice pickup in my opinion. Next up we have Disturbed Believe. I picked up 10,000 Fists a little bit ago. This to me is probably the other main necessary Disturbed album. Tracks like Prayer and Liberate, Awaken, Intoxication, Rise, songs I really like. Breathe and Devour, some of my favorite deep cuts on this one. I think 10,000 Fists and Believe, along with maybe Indestructible, is really what I think is essential Disturbed. Otherwise, you know, I'm not really a big fan of their first album, aside from Stupefy and Voices. Like, I don't really even care for Down with the Sickness that much. And then anything they did after Indestructible sort of felt too samey for me. I just sort of lost touch with them. Though I will say that their most recent album, released in 2022, I forget the name of it, but that one had some pretty good songs on it. So Disturbed's Believe, wasn't going to pass that one up. Alright, here's one that's sort of taking a chance. Filter, title of record. I only know Take a Picture, but I also know that they're a heavier band than Take a Picture would lead one to believe. So I picked it up just to try it out, and it's okay. It is heavier than Take a Picture, but honestly, Take a Picture is probably the only song that's really that memorable to me. The rest of it's just sort of alright. Now here's a few that I'm taking a chance on. 3 Days Grace, a band I have not really listened to in a long time. I never owned either of these albums. I sort of lost touch with 3 Days Grace right before this one came out, but I do like the song Break a lot, so I figured I'd pick this one up and give it a shot. And this one, I don't really know. I know I've heard songs from it, but I don't know which ones. But I figured, you know, at Goodwill for $1 or $2, why not give it a shot? Last one we got here, Our Lady Peace, Gravity. This one has Somewhere Out There and Innocent, which are the two Our Lady Peace songs that I'm familiar with. Otherwise, I think it's a pretty decent album. I like pretty much every song on here. Pretty cool Canadian band. I know they have some, they used to have some beef with Matthew Good Band, which I'm a Matthew Good fan. But I think they also toured together, so I don't know if the beef came before that or after that, but they're a band that I think of with Matthew Good Band, so Our Lady Peace. Pick that one up at Goodwill. Alright, so let's move on now to, I guess, my record store haul from 2 weeks ago? 1 or 2 weeks ago. Alright, let's start off with Daughtry's Leave This Town. I already own this album, but my CD is really scuffed up. I don't know what happened to it, so I picked this one up because I love this album and the CD is nice and clean, so I'm sure it will play. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened to my copy. Just that somehow it got scuffed up somewhere along the line and it doesn't play. But this one, to me, by far my favorite Daughtry album. Um, some good songs on their first album, a couple of decent songs on their third, Break the Spell, and anything after that has not really appealed to me that much from Daughtry, but I think this album is super, super solid. So happy to have a copy of it that works. Next up we have In the Land of Sin and Salvation, or I said that backwards, In the Land of Salvation and Sin from the Georgia Satellites. I knew absolutely nothing of this album, but I picked it up just because it's the Georgia Satellites and I like their self-titled album, so this one's really fun. I played this one a couple times. I think it's really fun Southern rock. I Don't Know, Bottle of Tears, Bring Down the Hammer I liked quite a bit. The whole album was pretty good though, so that was a pretty exciting find for me. Alright, next up, let's go with Midnight Oil, Diesel and Dust. I love Beds Are Burning. I think that's a great song. And they're a good band. It's just their singer is kind of hard for me to get into his voice. I don't know. But I picked it up mainly because I love Beds Are Burning, and I kind of want to get a little bit more into them. I'm just like, I don't know, that I'm not sure what the singer's name is. Is it on here? But it's his. There's something about his voice that just sort of drives me nuts sometimes. And that's what's kind of kept me from really getting into Midnight Oil more. I don't see it, but yeah, whatever the singer's name is, he's got a voice that takes some getting used to, at least for my ears. But at the very least, I do love Beds Are Burning. So, all right, here's another one I picked up. I've heard this album I think twice in the past, maybe 3 times, but it's a classic album, and I liked it, but it didn't blow me away. I figured it's time to pick it up and at least have it in the collection, but maybe pick it up and try to listen to it on an actual CD as opposed to streaming it. Operation Mindcrime from Queensryche, one of the greatest gosh, it's too late for me to be doing this. Concept albums, that's the word I was looking for, of all time. But yeah, I'm gonna have to play this one now that I have the CD, because I've heard it streaming I think twice, and I think a long time ago a friend of mine had this and I heard it. That's how I heard it the first time. So at the very least, I think it's just a really classic album that should be in the collection regardless, but I want to give this one another chance to really jump out at me, and maybe I'll really fall in love with it. But up until now, I like it. It's just not an album that really, I don't know, jumped out at me, I guess. So maybe that'll change. Hopefully it'll change. Alright, next we have come to the Nazareth part of the video. How about Razmanaz? I own this one. I picked this one up on vinyl on a whim a while ago. I finally got around to playing it, and it's freaking amazing. So I picked up the CD. I'm going to do a Nazareth video here in the near future, so I'm not going to talk too much about this now. But along with that, I also picked up Close Enough for Rock and Roll, and the one I have not listened to yet, The News, one of the more recent albums. I've been focusing more on the 70s output of Nazareth right now, and that's what I'm going to focus on doing a video of in the near future. And also from my second favorite record store, I got Blue Oyster Cult, Tyranny and Mutation, their second album. Pretty good stuff right here. So that is my record store pickup from like 2 weeks ago, something like that. So a few weeks ago, my family and I traveled up a couple hours to see the solar eclipse. We were right outside of Totality here where I live, so we traveled northwest about 3 to 4 hours to get into Totality, and to get like within totality where you actually got a couple minutes to enjoy the moon covering up the sun. And we stopped at Walmart before we went and picked a place to stop and watch the eclipse at. And my souvenir from that trip, that about a little Pearl Jam vinyl 10. Their Walmart had a much nicer selection of music than mine here in my hometown does, because we don't have crap other than Taylor Swift this and Taylor Swift that. But they had like Pearl Jam and they had like all six uh, Van Halen albums, the classic ones. They had Iron Maiden, they had Metallica, and I mean the one here. I'm exaggerating when I say it's nothing but Taylor Swift, but it's I you might have a Metallica one, you might have a Van Halen one, but it's mostly pop. It just doesn't seem like we get the kind of rock albums that I saw up there. But I picked up Pearl Jam to get the little Pearl Jam on vinyl finally. So 10, awesome album, and it's kind of my souvenir from the eclipse, my musical souvenir, I guess. So um, I stopped at a antique store a few weeks ago, and I saw something, and I thought about getting it, but I passed it up. And then, as I started getting more into Nazareth over the past few weeks, I figured I need to go back, and if it's still there, I need to buy it. And it was there. Thank goodness. Loud and proud. So, picked that one up, stopped at the record store that's right next to that antique store I was at, and picked up Playing the Game as well. So, picked up a few Nazareth albums there a week or so ago. Alright, now here is a Amazon order that I made for it's kind of like an early birthday gift. Some Nazareth CDs, Loud and Proud, Rampant, and No Mean City. I also have Expect No Mercy coming. It hasn't arrived yet, but I ordered that one with these ones here, kind of like my birthday haul. A little early, but there we have it, my birthday haul, along with the record store day haul, because we're finally in that point of the video now where we can get into the record store day haul. So let's start with the CDs, and let's start with Pearl Jam, Dark Matter. I picked this up at Target, actually. I stopped at Walmart yesterday on Friday, hopefully thinking maybe they would have it, and I don't really know what put that crazy idea in my head, but they didn't. So I actually stopped at Target to use the bathroom after the record store this morning, and I figured, oh, you know what, I'll go see if they have Dark Matter. And Target usually has a worse selection of music than Walmart does, but you know, I'm an optimist, I guess. So I went and looked, and they had it on vinyl, and I kind of wanted CD though. So I'm looking around, and like I'm not seeing it anywhere, and of course they have like 17,000 copies of Taylor Swift. And as you sift through all that, finally I found like one CD copy of it. I'm like, dang, I gotta get this. So I picked this one up at Target. Yeah, I don't know, man. When Target's starting to outdo Walmart's music selection, that ain't saying much. But I was glad I was able to pick this up because I love this album right here. I think it's fantastic. I also picked up at one of my record stores today Riot Act. Never owned this one before. It's my least favorite Pearl Jam album, but I needed it to fill out the collection, so now I have Riot Act on CD. That leaves only two Pearl Jam albums that I'm missing, those being Gigaton and Lightning Bolt, which hopefully I'll get in the future, especially Lightning Bolt. I mean, I want to get both of them to complete the collection, but Lightning Bolt has some songs I really like, so. Also found Genesis Calling All Stations. This was actually new, still sealed. I unwrapped it so that I could put it in the CD player, but yeah, this is still new, and it was like $10, so pretty cool. There's a little hype sticker down here that said that this contained a special link to the Genesis website. I should go get the plastic of that and look that link up. I'll bet you it don't work anymore, but yeah, that's pretty old school right there. Genesis Calling All Stations. I only needed two Genesis to round out my Genesis collection, between CD and vinyl. So the only one now that I'm missing is the first one. Alright, so let's get into the vinyl. And let me kind of get my bearings here. Alright, so I went to 2 record stores today. And we're going to start with the second of the 2 that I went to. And as I'm searching through, I had no idea this record store even existed until like 3 days ago. But as I was looking up the hours to my second favorite record store that's located in Bellefonte, I happened to notice, or my wife happened to notice, that there was another search result for record store in Bellefonte that I had no idea existed. I don't know. This place, I'm assuming, is new, but I don't know. So we went there for the first time today, and I'm searching through, and they have a nice selection of stuff. They had a good Deep Purple selection. Actually, they had a lot of a lot of the obvious ones. They had Machine Head. They had in rock, shades of Deep Purple, mostly stuff that I have. But they had 2 Deep Purple records that I don't have. One was Book of Taliesin, and the other was Come Taste the Band. So I decided the one that I wanted to pick up, Come Taste the Band. I do like this one a little bit better than Book of Taliesin. I didn't like it the first time I heard it, but the second time I played this one, I actually started getting into it. So that's why I decided to get this one. Coming Home, Lady Luck, Getting Tighter, Dealer, Drifter. Pretty good stuff. So Deep Purple's Come Taste the Band. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm kind of in the middle. I like it, I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. So they had a special going on at this new record store that for every $10 you spend, you got to pick a free record out of a bin of albums. And I bought, because I also bought this CD with Come Taste the Band, that got me to $20, so I got to pick out 2 free records. Now, overall, the reason that these records were in the free bin was quite obvious. There wasn't a lot that was really that exciting to me, but I did find a couple of things that I thought were worth grabbing. I have Bachman Turner Overdrive, Live. I'm not a big live album guy, but what the heck? If I'm getting 2 free records, this one jumped out at me immediately. Got my favorite BTO song, which is Rolling Down the Highway, on the second half of this. So, good stuff. I like Bachman Turner Overdrive, so I only own 1 album of theirs, and it's Not Fragile, so I guess I have a second one to add to the BTO collection, but for free, hey. That was probably the best band I found in that bin. And then the second one that I picked up is Jackson Browne's Running on Empty. I like the title track a lot. Stays pretty good. I don't think I know anything else on here, but again, for free, yeah. The only other thing really that was in that bin that was kind of a consideration for me was the Moody Blues. I decided to get these 2 instead of the Moody Blues, but everything else was like not really my thing. So, all right. So this morning, the record store I decided to beat the doors down to this morning was my favorite record store, which is in Williamsport, and he doesn't sell new vinyl or anything. It's all used, but he was posting all week of all the stuff that he was going to put out for Record Store Day, and he just had a bunch of new arrivals that he was putting out. A lot of great stuff. So let's start with CCR Pendulum. I got this one for $1. It definitely needs a little cleaning, but for $1, hey, CCR, can't beat it. I love Hate Tonight. It's one of my favorite CCR songs, so it's on here. Absolutely worth $1 to clean it up, and it'll probably play well. He's usually pretty good. So the 2, here's the one that I went in for. Dokken, Tooth and Nail. He had this one posted a few days ago, and I'm like, that's the one I'm going to get. Tooth and Nail. I'm not letting it out of my hands this time. So I went in there and I was probably like the 15th person in line, but that was like, I don't know, probably too late. By the time I got in there, the place was packed, and I was pretty much living vicariously through everybody else flipping through records, and I'm just like trying to spot what I want. And finally, I get my place to start flipping through some records, and I happen to come across this one, Grace Under Pressure from Rush. And as soon as I picked that one up, that one I knew was coming home with me. And then I kept looking, eventually found Tooth and Nail, which is the one that I went in there for. And then picked up Pendulum from the $1 room that he has. So that was my record store day haul. A lot of good stuff. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts on any of these CDs or albums that I've picked up. What are some of the records that you got if you went out shopping on record store day? I would love to hear that in the comments as well. So if you like this kind of content, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this in the future, and I'll catch you next time.